So, have you ever wondered what really drives our world, our politics, our society? Is it all just logic and self-interest? Or is there something deeper going on, something we feel? Well, today we're diving into the incredible work of sociologist Arlie Hochschild, who gave us a whole new way to see things, the sociology of emotion.
All right, let's jump right in with a real head-scratcher. It's a puzzle that has stumped analysts for years, and Hochschild calls it the Great Paradox. And trust me, it challenges everything we think we know about why people make the political choices they do. Now, what makes this so fascinating is where Hochschild decided to look for answers. She went to places like Louisiana, where you have communities that are just devastated by industrial pollution, but they consistently vote for politicians who promise less environmental regulation. On the surface, it makes zero sense, right? Why would people who are getting sick defend the very companies poisoning their air and water? That's the mystery we're here to solve.
To get to the bottom of this, Hochschild knew that just looking at polls or economic data wasn't going to cut it. No, she had to really understand the people. And that meant she had to get through what she calls an empathy wall.
This is such a powerful idea. Think of the empathy wall as this invisible barrier that separates us from people whose lives are totally different from our own. It's not just about disagreeing with someone. It's that feeling of not even being able to imagine why they think and feel the way they do. Hochschild's whole mission was to figure out how to climb over that wall.
So how'd she do it? Not with some detached survey sent from a university office. Nope. She used a tool that requires total immersion, ethnography. She literally packed her bags, moved to Louisiana for 5 years, and just became a part of the community she wanted to understand. You see, ethnography isn't about asking people what they think from a checklist. It's about seeing the world through their eyes. It's about being there, day in and day out, to understand the meaning behind their actions from their own point of view.
And you know, this whole idea of just diving into a community, it's not some brand new thing. It has this rich history going back to the Chicago School of Sociology. They were famous for treating the entire city of Chicago like a giant living laboratory for their research. This quote from sociologist Robert Park just says it all, doesn't it? Go get the seat of your pants dirty and real research. It's about getting into the messy reality of life, not just looking at clean data. And it's this messy, first-hand approach that led Hochschild to her first huge clue. And surprisingly, it had nothing to do with politics at first.
So what she found in Louisiana actually has its roots in an idea she'd been working on for years. The first piece of our puzzle isn't about voting. It's about work. And a concept she named emotional labor. Think about a flight attendant, or a barista, or pretty much anyone in a service job. Their job isn't just to pour your coffee or check your ticket. It's to do it with a smile. They are literally paid to manage their own private feelings, to hide their frustration, to perform friendliness, all to make you, the customer, feel good. That effort, that performance, that is emotional labor. And Hochschild breaks this down so well. It all starts with the companies setting the feeling rules. You know, like the customer is always right. Then, the employee has to actively perform that emotion, whether they feel it or not. And the whole point is to make the customer feel a certain way. Happy, cared for, satisfied. Our feelings, in a way, become a product.
In this idea, this selling of feelings, it goes way beyond the workplace. Hochschild saw it as part of a much bigger trend, where really personal, private parts of our lives, like caring for an elderly parent, planning a kid's birthday party, even making dinner, are becoming services you can just buy. Now keep this idea in your head, that our deepest feelings have a price tag. It's going to be crucial for understanding what happens next.
Okay, so how on earth does a flight attendant's paid smile connect to people voting against their own environmental interests? This is where Hochschild's work is just so brilliant. By getting how emotions are managed and sold, we can finally crack that Louisiana paradox.
And here it is. This is the absolute key. Hochschild realized that what people say they believe, their political opinions, that's just the surface. Underneath it all is something she calls the deep story. Now, a deep story isn't about facts or logic. It's a story of feelings. It's a narrative that, well, it just feels true to the people living.
For the people she spoke with on the American right, the deep story starts with this really powerful image. Imagine you're standing in a long line, almost like a pilgrimage. You're working your tail off, you're playing by the rules, and you really believe that if you're just patient, you'll get to the front and achieve the American dream.
But then, the story takes a dark turn. From where you're standing, you see other people, maybe women, minorities, immigrants, and it looks like they're just cutting in line ahead of you, often with help from the government.
Suddenly, the rules you've followed your whole life don't seem to apply anymore, and it feels like you're being cheated.
And this is the emotional gut punch of the whole story. You feel like you've done everything right, but your line has just stopped moving. Even worse, you're watching other people get ahead. The culture around you feels foreign, and you get the sense that powerful elites are looking down on you and your values. It all boils down to this one incredibly powerful feeling. You've become a stranger in your own land.
And this deep story is what explains everything. The real enemy in their story isn't the polluting company down the road, no, it's the federal government and the liberal elites they blame for letting all those people cut in line. So their vote isn't an economic calculation, it's an emotional protest. It's born from anger, a sense of lost pride, and a deep mourning for a country they feel they've lost. So of course they'll support a politician who fights that enemy. Even if it means ignoring the pollution, it's not about logic, it's about what feels right.
So what's the big takeaway here? Hochschild's work does way more than just solve one political puzzle. It gives us a completely new lens to see our world.
I mean, just look at the difference here. Traditional analysis focuses on what people think and assumes we're all rational. Hochschild's approach flips that completely. It focuses on what people feel. It doesn't assume we're rational, it shows we're driven by these deep stories. And it proves you can't get to those stories with a survey. You need to get your pants dirty.
Ultimately, what Hochschild does is just so important. By giving us these tools like emotional labor in the deep story, she makes an invisible force visible. She helps us see how our most private feelings are shaped by society, bought and sold in the market, and could become the engine for huge political changes.
And that leaves us with one last big question. For you, if a deep story of anger and loss can explain so much, what's the deep story where you live? What are those underlying feelings, pride, fear, hope, resentment, that are quietly shaping the world right outside your door? That's the power of looking at the world through the sociology of emotion.